So this whole episode, I felt like I was going to be interrogating him. Hey, Agent Wells, remember the U.S.S. Relativity? Relativity? Ring a bell? Wells? Wells class? The U.S.S. Relativity was Wells class. I got you, Duquesne. I got you. You don't got me. I got you. Huh? Wow. It's like you guys are on some kind of Star Trek. And that's your ship, right? Wow. Whoa! I think you guys have been Borgified a bit. Welcome to Mercy. This is the 8th episode of Season 2 of Star Trek Picard. Mercy is not a quality that Borg tend to have, as stated in this episode. I guess that's why it's called Mercy. Am I going to be merciful to this episode? Am I going to hate it? What do you think? Type right now in the comments what you think I'm going to think. Just kidding. The penultimate episode. Of course, this is a modern season of Star Trek, so we only get a tiny amount of episodes per season. Next episode is the episode before the last one. This is the eve of the end, and I can't wait. I prefer to think of it as being on the precipice of an unknowable frontier. Not the end. The end is death. This isn't death. This is potentially the birth of a new Star Trek show with Strange New Worlds. Once this is over, we can have a new show to watch and to hate. Or not. Maybe Strange New Worlds would be good. Maybe I'm quoting Q. In this episode, Q seems to state something similar to that, in that I prefer to think of it not like I'm dying, but I'm on the edge of the unknown, going into a new frontier, so to speak. We certainly did that with this episode. We are on the first frontier. Land. Doesn't that sound fun? Land. The first frontier. These are the voyages of the crew of the La Sirena. You know, her 10-episode mission to explore things we've already explored, to seek out life we already know, and the same civilization we're familiar with, to cowardly retreat to places where everyone already lives. If you had dropped in at any point in this episode, without knowing beforehand that it was Star Trek, you may mistakenly, and I would forgive you for believing, that it could actually be some crime show. This is your standard fare crime show. This is CSI Los Angeles, if that show does not already exist. We got interrogation, we got chasing people, we got the good old whodunit. That's what I want to see. In the holodeck. Maybe. Good old Dixon Hill. Oh well. This isn't Dixon Hill. This is Picard. So what all happens in this episode? You got your A, you got your B, you got your C, and perhaps your D plot. Again, Girardi is filling the role of the Get Back Here character, as I had mentioned last episode. Also, last episode in my review, I may have said that this agent, who we now know as Wells, was like Fox Mulder. I said he came into the bar, Fox Mulder, X-Files. Makes you think. If you've seen this episode I'm reviewing now, you would know why that's funny. Rios, Teresa, and little Ricardo are on the La Sirena, and it's getting Borgified, so let's just let the kid do what he wants. We're trying to get rid of these Borg subroutines. I don't quite know how to fix it. I'm explaining it to Teresa, and she doesn't understand, because she's a person from 2024. Ricardo is walking around doing what he wants. He orders 4 cakes from the replicator. That's right, there were 4 cakes. Okay? He gets from the replicator. 4. Not 5. Haha. And while Ricardo is eating, Rios and Teresa have this harebrained conversation. I don't know. Does this work? Anybody out there who watches soap operas? Does this dialogue work for you? Tell me in the comments. Hey, I watch soap operas. This dialogue is pretty good. It's just like my soap opera that I've been watching for the last 40 years. Why don't you just pretend like you've known me for 10 years and then tell me your deepest secrets? Oh, I'm just this normal guy who is from space, and oh, well, I'm just girl from the past, and everything's bad. Well, I love you. Oh, let's have a kiss. And then, meanwhile, I felt all the blood drain from my body, and I felt a ghost creep up my asshole and possess me for a brief moment, if not just to give me the chills, somebody walking over my grave, because as they were having their dramatic soap opera dialogue, I could hear little Ricardo in the background saying, "My tummy hurts." And I was just like, ah! Oh my god! We just fed Ricardo cake from the replicator from a Borgified ship. Did he just eat a Borg nanoprobe? Holy crap, we're dead! We just Borgified the kid! If you watched that, is that what you were thinking? I mean, you bring the kid on this ship, it's at least partially Borgified. He takes 2 bites of a cake and then complains that his tummy hurts. What's your conclusion? Uh-oh, you got nanoprobed. I don't know what to do now. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be eating anything off that ship. I'd be trying not to touch it if I could. Ugh. Do these people not know anything about Borg? Do the writers know anything about Borg? So, Girardi and Seven are on their B plot, C plot, D plot, F plot, I don't know. They can't find Girardi, but they went to the scene of the crime where she broke that window, hilariously in last episode. She's looking for endorphins. And now we know she's looking for connections. Because she walked off with some guy from the bar and killed him when she couldn't get the feeling of connection. And Seven has this diatribe about being alone and the loneliness of not being part of the collective, and you're looking for that connection anywhere, even if it's just from some bozo on the street. I don't think so. But they do have time to take out of their schedule, saving the world, no, the galaxy, as Picard would say, for better or for worse. They take time out of their schedule to have a little lover's quarrel. Who am I to you? Blah, blah, blah. What do you mean? You don't like me because I don't have my Borg nanoprobe? And she's basically accusing Raffi of being prejudiced towards her for having been a Borg, when you just ask her to think how to find the Borg Queen, because we're trying to save freaking timeline here. I don't have time to be upset about the fact that you used to be a Borg. Oh, so that's it. You think I can find her just because I was a Borg? Well, yeah, maybe. Your help would be appreciated. So they have their lover's quarrel, but I want to call it a hater's quarrel, because lover's quarrels usually occur between people who we have seen are in love. So this is a hater's quarrel we're having. But we do catch up to Girardi, somehow. And she's at an abandoned car parking lot, perhaps outside a garage, harvesting metal from these cars. I don't know why we need to harvest this metal if the Borg Queen assimilated Girardi. Why couldn't the Borg Queen take the metal off her body and implant it into Girardi's body? Like, why didn't she just take metal off the La Sirena? I presume the La Sirena is like mostly metal. Why didn't she just assimilate metal from the ship into her body first before doing this? Does anybody know? All of a sudden we're inventing this idea that she needs to find metal, but she's coming from a place that was surrounded by metal. So it's just, is the Borg Queen stupid? You decide. Girardi gets away, but wait, she didn't kill us. She could have killed Raffi. Just kill Raffi. Just kill Raffi. We'd be so much safer if she just killed Raffi. A lot less weird, dangerous situations we might be getting into. But she didn't. She let Raffi go because mercy. This episode is called Mercy. Believe me, mercy ain't a Borg quality. That's a Girardi quality if I ever seen one, according to Seven. So, Girardi is getting away, along with her cool red dress and cool boots. And where is she going? We'll find out about that later. Remember Picard and Guinan, how they got caught by Agent Wells, FBI? Brunt, FCA. Wells, FBI. Okay, he kind of did turn out to be Fox Mulder. He is one of these people who has a personal grudge against aliens because of something that happened in his past. This episode, if you've seen it, opens exactly like any episode of some standard off the factory shelf crime show. It starts off with a flashback to a crime that happened in the past, usually told from the perspective of the victim. That's every crime show. They always start like that. So I was a little bit off put when it started because I'm not into those shows. Maybe you are, and that's great. But this kid who grew up to be Wells, he had an encounter with some Vulcans in the past. And I was just thinking, are these the Vulcans from Carbon Creek? That Trek Enterprise episode, if you remember, where Vulcans supposedly were in the past on Earth pretending to be humans. Again, it was just an old story to Paul told. Maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't. But a part of me of hoping it was, only to realize it didn't make sense because Carbon Creek was 1957. And there's no way Agent Wells is like 80, is he? Also, I'll have you know, Agent Wells, the actor portraying him, played a character, I think his name was Duquesne, on Voyager in the episode regarding the U.S.S. relativity. So this whole episode, I felt like I was going to be interrogating him. Hey, Agent Wells, remember the U.S.S. relativity? Relativity? Ring a bell? Wells? Wells class? The U.S.S. relativity was Wells class. I got you, Duquesne. I got you. You don't got me. I got you. You're frigging time police. I knew it. You're trying to fix a timeline, just like we are. Wrong. It's just a little Easter egg thing. His name is Wells. The U.S.S. relativity was Wells class, and his actor portrayed a character on the U.S.S. relativity. Did the writers know that? Part of me is wondering if it was an accident that his last name was Wells, but hey, who am I to judge, eh? Who am I to judge? Maybe they did think of that. I don't know why he would do that, but if they thought of it, then they did. If they didn't, then it was just a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. You knew that guy what did the painting back in the day? That's right. I'm up on my Earth history, you see. Duquesne is interrogating... Not Duquesne. Did I just call him Duquesne? Whoops, I meant Wells. Wells is interrogating Picard. You're an alien. I know you're an alien. And I want to talk to you personally. So, Guinan, get the heck out of here. And by the way, we have a statement from your friend Rios there. Look what he said. He said he was from the future, from some spaceship, and he's the captain, and he's walking around with a crusty old admiral. Picard reads it, and you can see the look of disgust, and he's upset that Rios called him a crusty old admiral. That's what you are. He actually takes kind of an offense to this. And I'm thinking like, holy crap, dude. Get over yourself. Okay? It's just... I don't know why we're in this show. But you crusty. And you old. And Picard suck. The show, I mean. And he even has a badge. He's like, well, guess what? My boys just found this badge. How long do you think it's going to take before they realize this badge didn't come from Earth? Huh? Huh? Well, you got me fair and square. I'm trying to prevent the not launch of the Europa mission. And Wells is like, why are you trying to sabotage the Europa mission? Okay. This is where this gets weird. Okay, Picard is trying to make sure the Europa mission is a go. Wells thinks he's trying to sabotage it. Dr. Soong wants to sabotage the Europa mission because he wants to save his daughter. And the Borg Queen gives Soong an ultimatum that the Europa mission either flies and makes his work somehow obsolete, or doesn't and forges a positive future for Soong and his namesake. Man, this ended up being an awful important part in history, didn't it? That Europa mission ended up being very important. Everything's kind of hinging around it. You guys got 2 episodes left to show me that Europa mission. You've been teasing me with it for like 4 episodes now. I'm getting tired of waiting. This episode would have been great if the Europa mission launched and the La Sirena had to like cloak and like intercept it and make sure it survived like some kind of Q attack. Maybe Q's a stowaway on the Europa mission or something like that. I don't know. You know, cool stuff. Things that happen in shows that are cool that we get to watch and are happy because we watch them because they're cool. But no, we have CSI Los Angeles. That kid at the beginning, that was Wells. He met some spooky, scary Vulcans. You picked just about the least scary aliens you could pick from Star Trek. If I was a 10-year-old kid and I met some Vulcans, I might say, wow, who are you guys? I don't think I'd be running in fear from Vulcans or aliens, as I thought, that looked peaceful and nice like that, and just, they weren't really spooky. Like, I wish he had met some Tholians, and then Picard had to explain to him, oh, you met spooky Tholians. Were they made of crystal and were screeching at you in these strange tones you couldn't understand, and they were glowing? Ah, yes, I know Tholians. You do? Wow, I'm not alone. No, it was Vulcans. Did they try to grab your head like this? And of course, that little connection with Wells. Holy cow. He does know. They were Vulcans. They weren't trying to kill me. They were trying to mind meld me to make me not feel so much fear. And then obviously it didn't work. Probably because they were mind melding. And then as he did it, he got transported away. So maybe scheduling conflicts made it so he couldn't finish the mind meld. I guess it's possible. But this kid walked away with horrifying memories of Vulcans. You know, people with pointy ears, basically. Traumatized for life. And now he's turned into a Vulcan truther. And he wants to find out the truth behind the aliens. And I know you're an alien, because I saw you guys on camera transporting in here. You know, like a shimmer of light? You shimmered into existence the same way the Vulcans did. And now I caught you. But now you're my friend. I spent my whole life trying to find you. Now you're my friend, because you understand what I went through. And now I'm gonna lie and say that I was wrong again, only to immediately get fired, ruining my life's work for people I've never met. So essentially this character, Agent Wells, he was kind of like the quack who was always out to find these aliens, and one more slip up was going to basically put him on so thin of an ice that he was going to fall through and drown. That's exactly what happened. So he lied to protect Picard because he just believed Picard's story immediately that he was trying to save the universe. And he needed to go free. And that was enough to convince this human from 2024 that he wasn't lying. Oh, you can do the same hand trick that those Vulcans did. Yeah, you're a good guy. That's right, you're not trying to trick me. You did the same thing they did with their hands. Yeah, I can trust you. So I'm not going to rat you out to my superiors, and I'm going to do that and then subsequently lose my job. Yeah. And I was just thinking, this guy, he's a true believer. He believes what is essentially the truth. That, these characters are from the future. Starfleet is a thing. Vulcans are real. You've already broken the Prime Directive enough here. He clearly believes it. Why don't you just take him back to the future with you? There's precedence for that. Like, if you have already broken Prime Directive, temporal or not, and someone just knows the truth, beyond a reasonable doubt, you can call them a refugee, and say that, and if they ask to come with you, it's happened before. I'm not saying it's right or good, but it's happened before. So you can take Wells with you if you want to, maybe if he decides that, because maybe his life here is ruined because he lost his job. Maybe he doesn't have any family. I don't know. You spend your whole life looking for aliens. You find them. You let him go and lose your job. Things that make you go, So it appears that Picard's off scot-free, but not before Guinan has a visit with Q. Everything with Q this season seems to really work. John Delancey and Brent Spiner are bringing their A game. I actually did not have my finger on the skip scene button here, which means this episode was better than the last one. I wasn't just fast-forwarding through so much nonsense. But I would be lying if I say I didn't fast-forward a little bit here and there. On second viewing. Obviously, I watched the first viewing all the way through. Second viewing, I might skip some things here and there. Nothing serious. Not that anything really serious happens. But Q has a discussion with Guinan. Oh, I'm trying to flick you away right now to vaporize you. But I can't, because we're sick, you see. Or I'm sick, and we're dying. And I'm on the precipice of dying. And now I know what it's like. Q has a dialogue with Guinan that gives Guinan the idea to telepathically link with Picard and tell him how to trick Wells into letting him go, and her nose is bleeding, so it's obviously very hard for Guinan to do this. Kinda, maybe, sorta, kinda possible, I don't know. But, as with all Q dialogue in this season, it's full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Guinan extrapolates on incomplete data. She takes the esoteric and romantic dialogue of Q and somehow translates it real time into something that makes sense, which is beyond the ken of the audience. I guess it's par for the course for a character like Guinan and a character like Q, so I will excuse the flights of fancy. The writers of these last few shows have been given over to overly dramatic dialogue with not a lot of objective purpose. We'll say that. Somehow we know that Q is trying to give Picard a chance to redeem his lifetime with one meaningful act. If you know what that means, you can tell me in the comments. I don't know what that means. I don't know what Picard is redeeming. None of what has happened so far has been anyone's fault but Q's. So I don't know. Forgive me, I'm kind of lost on this one. But right before the end, where did the Borg Queen go? Borg Queen is trying to find Soong, and guess what? Soong's daughter, Kore, has actually escaped. Guess what? She got the cure from Q. Q used the cure to, trick Soong into killing Rene Picard. He accidentally ran over old Picard, but then his daughter got the cure anyway. So he got what he wanted, even though he failed. And now he's mad that he got what he wanted and his daughter is free? He seemed pretty happy last time with the fake cure that was like a timed exclusive. And now he's upset that she's free, and we have this inane dialogue. I get what they're trying to get at philosophically. I just don't like their purported answer. They're trying to say, is Corey worth anything to Soong as an experiment and not his daughter? And I was just thinking, what are we if not our biological parents' experiments? Ill-intentioned, good-intentioned, not intentioned at all. We are the experiments of our parents. I fail to see how this is so different, and I think Soong, in the first few scenes, would agree with me. You're my work, Corey, and you're my daughter. I love you, and I love my work. What's so hard to understand about that? He tried to run over Renee Picard on a whim that he would get a cure for Corey. Now that she has the cure, she's leaving him, and this upsets Dr. Soong. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm missing something, but it feels like this character does a complete 180 when the Borg Queen shows up and says, listen, either the Europa mission finds something that renders your work obsolete and we go to the good future, or the Europa mission fails and your work is hailed as the savior of the Earth from some kind of ecological disaster, going to the bad timeline. So what'll it be? Are you going to go save your daughter, or are you going to interrupt the Europa mission to cause the bad future which will make you a hero? A minute ago, he was willing to go the extra mile to save his daughter. So you were setting him up as a good character. Then you made him a villain. Then you tried to redeem him again. And now you're trying to turn him back into a villain. I don't know what the writers want me to think about Dr. Soong. But, I mean, the road to hell being what it is, maybe I can just buy the fact that, you know, in a momentary delusion of grandeur, he is instrumental in causing a bad future. What does the Borg Queen get out of this? I don't know. Access to high-tech military assets from Dr. Soong, because Dr. Soong, I guess, has enough money to call up on the phone some kind of private military corporation out of nowhere. I don't know. Is that something with connections? Someone with connections like Dr. Soong, is that something they could do? Does anybody know? Does anybody watching this know how they can hire private military corporations? Would anyone happen to know and could tell me in the comments where I could get some and for what price? Don't actually do that, because that would be stupid, but that's what happens in this show. Dr. Soong can just order up some mail-order soldiers for the Borg Queen to assimilate. Now that she has the lithium and batteries from cars to create nanoprobes, I don't know, but our episode ends with a rather curt and to-the-point dialogue between the Queen and Dr. Soong. Listen, A leads to B, B leads to C. Does that make sense? Yes or no? And I really miss dialogue like that. It takes the Borg Queen to speak logically in a world full of emotional idiots. In a show written by adults, for adults, supposedly. Or is it written by kids for adults? You would be mistaken for thinking it's the latter, because this is Picard. So, Girardi is still in get back here mode. Soong's a bad guy. Corey is free, which is what Soong wanted, I thought. And the La Sirena is Borgified. And, holy crap, Picard, Seven, and Raffi are hot on the trail of that Borg Queen. If we don't act fast, we could have another Star Trek First Contact on our hands. Raffi, what's Star Trek First Contact? Oh, it's a movie I saw. You know, they had the Sovereign Class Enterprise. Sovereign Class Enterprise? What? We just decommissioned that. Okay, yeah, whatever. That was Star Trek Picard. Episode 8 from Season 2. Mercy. I like to think I was fair, not exactly merciful. I didn't exactly love it, but I didn't hate it. I liked it better than the last episode. So I'm going to have to go with the 5.5. I can't remember what I gave the last episode. Believe it or not, I don't really watch these reviews because I don't really want to watch the show. On Monday, sometimes I think it's Tuesday, and I shit my pants thinking, holy crap, I'm going to have to watch Picard in 2 days, only to realize it was Monday. I repeat the process for 3 days straight until Thursday actually comes around. I look at the calendar. Oh no, it is Thursday. I have to rip myself out of whatever I'm doing, sit down in this chair, and talk about Picard for no reason. So, you bet your butt that I don't want to actually sit down and watch these reviews again. So I don't remember what I reviewed the last episode at. I do know that I liked it a little bit worse than this one. So therefore, that's where comes the 5.5 from. What's going to happen next episode? Well, hopefully we can catch Girardi. Hopefully we can see the Europa mission launch. That would be cool. We could see Star Trek things happening instead of CSI Los Angeles. Forgive me if that's a real show and I don't know. Philosophically, this show attempted to have something going on with Corey and Soong and experiment, nature versus nurture, that kind of nonsense. But I think it fell really flat. Maybe it worked for you. It didn't really work for me. But I appreciate the attempt at having some kind of philosophical nugget in here, even if it was a nugget of crap. Musically, again, the TNG musical sting shows up. Is it warranted? Maybe. There was a few moments where Picard felt like Picard for a brief moment when he was talking to Guinan and also talking to Agent Wells. I will say that I did have a brief heart pang when I saw Picard smiling or nodding. I was like, hey, this reminds me of Picard. Maybe if it did that for you, you'd remember the scene I'm talking about. So I'm not going to go into detail here. Visually, what's there to say? We were on board the La Sirena for a second. We were walking around on Earth. We got to go into some secret FBI bunker. That was kind of cool. We got to see Q walking around with like an FBI shirt, only to make me wonder how it is that he's playing all these different roles while not having Q powers. I guess he just is that smart. He can just trick people. I'm an FBI agent. Believe me. I can make this cure in a biological lab for Corey. Just let me in there. I can do it myself. I'm Q. I don't have any powers, but I guess I have the powers of deduction. Just like Agent Wells. I will point out that the powers of deduction on behalf of Wells far exceed that of our main characters. His power to put different pieces of evidence together, his power to extrapolate based on nebulous data. Very good, Wells. If only Picard and co. could do that. Nothing musically, nothing visually, really. Philosophically, barely. These are the pillars upon which I view Star Trek. And if we're failing on all those 3 pillars, you're ending up with a bland show. At least this season is bland and not actively annoying. That's where the 5s come from. Take it or leave it. But this one was just 1 notch better than 5. This has been Picard, Season 2, Episode 8, Mercy. I'll see you guys next week. By the way, I see your comments. They will be getting replied to. They will all have their due diligence, due process. Just wait a few more weeks. It's fine. Last episode had one very, very, very long comment that I think may deserve its own video just to reply to. We'll see. I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I'm going to see you when next I see you. So long.